Hey guys, it's me, Stop Mad Virals Gaming, and I'm bringing you some kill confirmed on cargo. And I decided that instead of my raw traditional setup, I was going to try something new and went with the Guardian and Sentry Gun combo, which for kill confirmed is very effective. I really recommend you give that a try, especially with the MTAR, because the MTAR is just a beast of a weapon. But what we're here to talk about is the Call of Duty campaigns and how far they've come since their fruition. I mean, I didn't play the earlier CODs, Call of Duty games, so I can't say much for them, but I did play Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, World War, etc. Except Modern Warfare 3, because I didn't get Modern Warfare 3. Sorry about that. But yeah, in what I liked about Modern Warfare, well, that's the thing. The only thing I really recall of that campaign, and then I disagree, there might be a lot more than you remember, is the nuclear fallout, and you're standing in a ruined, basically ruins, and you got nowhere to go but die. And that was quite a moment, to be honest, because it's like, wow, you really were helpless. You couldn't do anything. You just had to watch him die, and that's not a pleasant thing to even consider. And then you had the Modern Warfare 2, which kind of kicked the bar up a bit. I mean, you had the controversial shooting in the airport. That definitely raised the stakes. I mean, it was quite controversial at the time, and I mean, it still probably is still really controversial. It's kind of, what can you do? But isn't that what video games are meant to do? Push the line, push the envelope of what can be seen as okay for video games and too far for video games. And one of my favourite moments in Modern Warfare 2 was when the EMP struck, and what we see is just a raining death upon you, and you got to just run like the wind. And I mean, the following missions after that, they were just well put together. There was kind of a darker atmosphere. It was kind of sense that you didn't know what was going to be around the next corner. You weren't sure whether it was going to be friendlies, enemies, whatever. That was what I liked about that. Let's go on to the Treyarch series, and World at War was iconic for me. I loved World at War with a passion. I mean, it captured World War II rather than actually, in my opinion. I mean, you had the settings themselves, and the kind of the graphics and the appearance of their structures, and you kind of got a sense of the war and how bad it really was for the people at the time. And World at War captured it really well, and whilst maybe it didn't do as much, it was a breath of fresh air really for a World War II game, in my opinion. It was something different, it was something new, really. I mean, you had the likes of, you were following the Russians, and the likes, and Dmitry Petrenko, and he's a man of steel himself. He could just walk through crap and survive. He was a hell of a character, and Rezanov himself cemented himself in that game as a memorable character, and that's why he's probably returned in every COD game, every World at War game since since World at War. Well, every Treyarch game anyway. And the storylines fell rather nicely in sync. I mean, what Treyarch did with Black Ops 2 was go into a different type of game, a totally different approach to a war game, a first-person shooter, and they went with the Cold War, and that was a good choice, because the whole Cold War was just as controversial as World War, well, not as controversial as World War 2, but it still had its kick that would make you think, whoa. I mean, a lot of things dealt conspiracy-wise in the World War, Black Ops campaign. You had the mind control, you had nuclear warfare threatened, well, not nuclear warfare, but you know what I mean, the Nova threat, and it more than made up for it. It more than kind of pushed the bar in terms of how easily it could be to exploit a human mind when you think about it. And it kind of brought all these techniques and mind control ideas into a sense of seriously? Were they doing this then? Kind of makes you think, really, when you think about it. And I mean, the campaign itself, I love the campaign. I mean, Mason Woods, all the characters, they were amazing. They were brilliant. And I mean, to see Reznov again return was kind of a good moment. And to play through as Reznov, you kind of felt good. You can't deny that was a good feeling. But then, of course, every game has to have like the kick that'll keep you want to play. And for me, that was the death to seeing Dmitri die in such a pitiful way. Bear in mind, he'd survived the hells of Berlin, of Stalingrad, and everything in World War, and yeah, here he was dying from no other gas, and you almost could feel in that sense the hatred Reznov had for Steiner, Krashenko, and the other one, and Dragovich, that's the one. You could almost see it, and you almost wanted revenge yourself, and that was kind of, and then you kind of also get that sense across in Mason, and you kind of see the comparison between the characters, both abandoned, and very much Mason is the American equivalent of Reznov in that respect. And that leads me on to Black Ops 2, and once again they pushed the bar even higher than they did. I mean, what they did was they blended not just the Cold War but the future. And a lot of people complained at the time that, oh, it's too far ahead. It's only 10 years from now. So yeah, well, not 10, but it's about 10 years, 10, 12, decade. It's a decade, think about it like that. And I loved the Black Ops 2 campaign. It was fantastic. I loved playing through it. I would probably play through it again if I could be bothered, because at the minute I'm just interested in playing multiplayer. So I mean, and there's no real point in doing a walkthrough for a game, because there's so many out there. It's not really worth the time I could put in. There's plenty more better things I could be doing, like talking about where they could go with the sequel to Black Ops 2, if there is a sequel. Because I can't help but feel that if they just left it as is, it would be too loose as in terms of loose ends. What I would personally suggest is that they go with the martyrdom. Now, you might disagree. You might think that this might walk away from what is generic COD based, but maybe they need to do that. Maybe they need to find an excuse to reinvent Call of Duty, because a revolution is something that's not, which has kind of delved into in Black Ops, for example, with the Vietnam War and stuff, but they could really make a decent game out of Menendez's Martyrdom. Alternatively, they could just stick with the whole good ending and just bring forward a new villain. But would that work for you? What do you guys think, after all? That's the point of this comedy. That's why I made it. I wanted to know what you guys personally think would be the best possible idea they could have for the next campaign in Treyarch's game. I mean, what about Infinity War? What could they do to make Modern Warfare that bit more better than it already is? What could they take from Black Ops 2 or get inspired by Black Ops 2 and implant it into their game? It's all about considering. And I really think the martyrdom concept would be a perfect starting point for Treyarch if they want to make a sequel to Black Ops 2, because the game itself had everything. I mean, they could easily work on the Strike Force missions, the branching storyline. They could develop that in so many ways. It would just be truly fantastic, and I would basically, they would have to take my money, because I would buy that definitely. If they go with the martyrdom, I will be pretty happy. But if they don't, then I respect that. Anyhow, I've come to the end of this game clip. I've been starting mad of Virals Gaming, and please leave a like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.